Here in part 5, we're going to be looking at multiband compression. Now, before I begin, let's just quickly discuss what is your difference between a regular compressor and a multiband compressor. It's quite simple. Your regular one, which we've been using, is going to be compressing the entire frequency range. So whatever is being covered in that group, for example, our drum group, just looking at the frequency range, everything that is in here that's showing will be compressed by the settings here. Everything in there. Very simple and straightforward. Now, on the flip side, your multiband gives you the freedom to actually split up your compression, usually between 3 and 5 different bands. So you guys can now compress different frequencies. For example, your lows differently than your mids, and all the way up to your highs. So this gives you a lot more control over compression, because sometimes you don't want to compress a low end. You really want it to come through clean and clear, but maybe you want to compress or tame a bit of the high end. That's where a multi-band compressor comes into play, and that's what I'm going to get to right now. Now, going back on the beginning of the course, I did say I might want to split up my bass. I am going to do that now because I'm going to use a multi-band to differ here, to change the compression amount on the chord. So I'm going to take the basses out of this group, and I'm going to make a new one. So we'll do create track stack, and we'll do another group here. This is going to be my bass group. Just switching these out. And now we can do, just rename this. And now we can apply the different compression. So my bass group does need the other compression there, so I'm going to copy this over. So let's just open that up first, and let's hit copy. And then we'll go to our bass group, and let's just throw this back on here. And we'll just hit paste. Okay, so now what we want to do, if I go to my main chords, what I like doing for multiband compression is taming the high end of my chords. So I am going to bypass off the chord group that we used here, the regular compression, and now I'm going to go to the individual stems themselves. And what I'm going to do is go down to our multiband compression here. And what I like doing, as I said, guys, you can split this up into different bands. You see the plus here, I can just grab here, I want to do here, whatever you want to do. It's crazy how much freedom you have with multi-band. And what I like doing on the chords is my high end, I like to duck the compression, and what it does is tame it. You know, before I even do it, if you guys even want to flip through, there's actually a great preset in here if you're new to this stuff called harshness control. Same idea I'm going to be doing. So what I want to do is really tame the high end right here. So it's going to be reacted and compressed when the threshold is met. Right here, you guys can see. And I can even push this higher to brighten it, and it's going to squash it a bit. So you're getting the high end from the reverb in the back. If you guys listen carefully, this is a super subtle detail, but it's letting almost the silent tails, the really low end of reverb tails, come through the mix. They're expanding, they're going upward. Now our compression to the main chord is being controlled, which is just like that preset called harshness control. So this is really just compressing that area rather than the entire signal. So now I can bring in the support saw. So listen to the main difference from upward here. And now taming those high ends now. This is one way to really clean up a mix, because technically I am not sucking the life out of the sound as compared to an EQ where I'm doing subtractive EQing is going to be taking that sound out. I'm not taking it out, I'm taming it. I'm making it less harsh. So now that's going to be sitting better in the mix. And now I can compare that with my regular compressor on. Now I can back off my threshold settings because I don't want to squash everything. Now I'm just using the regular compressor to keep things intact. Super subtle amount. So that's why what I'm gonna do with my multiband is taking frequencies and making sure I'm not sucking the life out of the entire track that I'm working on from putting a regular compressor on it. Because again, guys, this is not adjusting by frequency range. This is doing the entire signal that's being passed by. So there's going to be situations, majority of the time for me, it's with my chord group, my lead group, my bus of my drums, I'll keep pretty straightforward. The main thing I like using multiband on my my drums is my hi-hats. So if I actually go on my hi-hats, this cleans up room noise. So say you guys are in a situation where you have live drums and it's kind of getting that bleeding effect from the microphone and maybe something in the background, you guys can tame that out with multiband without deleting or really subtracting the entire sound. So let's clean this up here. See how that's a bit harsh with the highs until we just tamed it a little. So I'll do the same thing here with the hi-hat. This is going to work really well on live recordings. I have a bunch of sample packs that are done with actual live drum kits that I love using for more of an organic kind of natural approach to a song. But you will find up in this area here in the frequency range, there's going to be a lot of mic bleed going on, depending on how they recorded it, how well the quality is. I utilize multiband a lot to clean up the mix. Same thing with snare. Let's hear the snare. Yeah, that's sounding good there. So I'm going to keep my bass group compressed entirely. I'm not going to do a multiband on that. And I'm not going to change anything else in here. I like the compression that it's giving as is, meaning the entire frequency range. Spend time on multiband, guys. If this is a new technique of compression to you, you need to spend a lot of time on it to really understand the difference it's making as opposed to the entire frequency range versus maybe just the high end or maybe the lows and mids. So there's a huge advantage to multiband, but that's what I'm going to use for that one. Let's now jump forward to more kind of a saturation distortion mixing technique here with Saturn.